Did you miss me? So, it's been a while since a new video has dropped in any capacity, right? And I thought, why not get back to it, right? So, the reason a new video hasn't dropped in a while is because of just generally life, work-related things. I'm currently out of state, out of where I actually live, to work in a different place. So, temporary situation. But I've not been able to actually record content. But I'm back, so we'll be getting right back to it, right? Today, we will be going over a console library that I am pretty fond of. I've loved what I've collected for it so far. I'm still looking for things that I'm somewhat interested in, but I haven't really gotten there yet. But I've got a couple games here that I'm excited to share with you guys, at least give a good overview of. I don't think this video is going to be as long as my other collection videos, primarily because there's going to be a lot of speed running through things that are just generally, they exist. They're in the library. I have fun playing them, but there's not much I can really say about them. So, with all that being said, we're going to buck that trend here with Metal Gear Solid. Now, Metal Gear Solid is a game I played for the first time this year. I know that it's been, critically acclaimed, highly raved about in pretty much all gaming social circles, right? And so I was like, oh, I have to play this game now, right? And the thing about MGS is that it's a little bit of a product of its time, right? And I think the coolest thing about the game itself is the fact that there's really just this huge attention to detail, I feel, in terms of all the cool things. Even, stuff like the back of the box art has stuff that will matter to you in game when you get to it, and I just think that's super awesome. So, from things such as the Psycho Mantis boss fight, which is very iconic, and just the things with Liquid, and just the whole overarching narrative that the game presents. Metal Gear Solid was definitely one of my favorite games I've played so far this year. And when you guys see my PS2 video, you'll be able to also see the PS2 sequel, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and I'll talk a little bit about how much I enjoyed that. But overall, my Metal Gear Solid review should be on backlog, so if you want to get my more in-depth thoughts into any of the games that I've talked about, I may or may not have a backlog review for some of them. I know I have a backlog review of Metal Gear Solid, so yeah, check that out if you want it. So, moving on, we've got a couple NASCAR games, NASCAR 98 and NASCAR 2001. I dabbled in NASCAR a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm a NASCAR fan. I wouldn't even say I'm a NASCAR casual fan. I know pretty much nothing about the sport. But, I did watch Disney Pixar cars, like a lot of youngins from my generation and all that. But I was like, you know what? I think I'm a little bit interested in it. And I always love racing video games. So I was like, why not give these a shot? I played a little bit of 98, and, I think it's alright. I think it's whatever. So it's not really amazing or anything, but I think that combined with the age of it and all that is kind of the reason I say that. So, but yeah, these exist. NHL 2001, right? Not an NHL fan. It's a sports game that I was like, you know what? I think I don't know if it's like one of those things where old people are like, oh, X, Y, and Z were better back then. I liked the sports games from my generation, right? 2K16, 2K15, Madden 13, etc. But I don't know if sports games were even better back in the day, because I feel like sports games were really like a genre where like people still profit off of them, but even critically they were treated with respect. Now people aren't treating 2K or Madden or FIFA with critical respect. You know what I mean? So. But yeah, NHL 2001, it exists, it's in the collection, but it hasn't actually been played through, so I'm sorry. Next up, we have Parasite Eve 2. Now, when I was getting my PlayStation 1, I bought my PlayStation 1 in a couple games, and this guy was like, hey, do you want Parasite Eve 2 alongside it? Because it's a little bit more expensive, so I'm not going to throw it in my PS1, but it's here if you want it. And I was like, no, I'm kind of good. But I did a lot of research into the game, and I was like, wait a minute, this seems like something I would like. So, it's one of those double discs. So, but yeah, I was like, this seems like something I'd really like. It was made by Square Enix, Squaresoft at the time, and I love Final Fantasy VII, and I love a lot of older Square Enix games based on their aesthetics. So I was like, you know what? I think now's the time. I think I'm going to get this. Search for Parasite Eve 1 online. My thing is that it keeps going up in price. I think I got this for $50. Now it's worth like over $100. But they keep going up in price. I probably should have jumped on Parasite Eve 1 when I had the chance. But, oh well, it is what it is. So, moving on, Rainbow Six. Most I've heard of it, Rainbow Six was with Rainbow Six Siege. And overall, I was like, okay, well, let me get Rainbow Six, see where it all started from at the beginning, because I kind of like the aesthetics and kind of the vibes that older shooting games give me. So I was like, let me see if Rainbow Six is something that I would enjoy. And I haven't played it yet, in all honesty, but I haven't done a lot of gaming on my PS1 that hasn't been MGS and Final Fantasy VII. So, there's that. Next up, Resident Evil Director's Cut. I probably should have added this game to the list because I have played a little bit of this, but I don't think I really enjoyed it. So I gave it about 30 minutes of my time, and I know there's definitely a lot more that could have been done in that 30 minutes. I always like to give games like a couple hours before I'm like, all right, like it's not for me. But I do want to go back to this eventually and like really sink my teeth into it. I was really choosing between this and a different game at the time, so when I saw I wasn't like immediately gravitating towards this, I was like, not for me, putting it down. But yeah, we'll get to this soon. So next up, Ridge Racer Type R4. Now, I love Ridge Racer now. I have Ridge Racer, Type R4. I guess Ridge Racer 4 is what this might be, because Ridge Racer 5 is on the PS2. That's another Ridge Racer I have. That's probably my favorite one. And I just like the aesthetic about it. Like, I don't like the aesthetic is cool, of course, and the aesthetic doesn't carry you through a game, right? But I feel like not only is it a solid racing game, but it just kind of makes me feel like it gives me arcade vibes in it. With it's just like the city pop and just the models and all. Like I don't know. I like it. I like it. It's fun. I would definitely recommend that if you have a PS1 or PS2. I don't think a Ridge Racer game came out for the PS3. Try the Ridge Racer franchise, especially if you are consumed well enough into racing games. Then give it a shot. Give it a shot for sure. Next up, Spyro. Now, I have the Spyro collection, like the Reignited edition, but I've not played the original Spyro. And I do want to play the original one. I kind of want to play the Reignited because it went through that crash thing where like, yes, it's remastered and it looks all HD like, but like it's almost like one of those things where Mario in real life or Minecraft in real life, where it's just like too HD, like the art direction just made everything look like just kind of enhanced and like in a way like a little ugly. So it doesn't help to like, I guess in Spyro and Crash's case, like the character design they went through in like the mid 2000s was like very ugly, at least in my opinion. So, but I'm glad I have the original game for the PS1, so I can give that a shot sometime soon. Next up, though, I have Siphon Filter and Siphon Filter 2. I had only heard of the Siphon Filter games when I got 2, packaged with my PS1, bundled them with my PS1 on Marketplace. And I was like, you know what? I've heard people talk about these games. Some people say they're good. Why don't I give these a shot? And I haven't yet. But I will eventually. And I don't know. Tell me in the comments, right, if you have played any of the games I'm talking about that I haven't tried yet, and which one you'd recommend that I start first, or which one you recommend that I just pass on, or anything like that. Because who knows? Maybe I might be like, oh, okay, you didn't like it for this reason. Let me play it myself and formulate my own opinion on it. Or I'll be like, all right, like I hear a lot of people clamoring for this one. Let me try this one. But I won't be playing any retro games for probably like a good month while I'm away. So yeah, that's it. Next up, we got Tekken 3. Now, Tekken 3 is fun. It's fun. It's cool. Tekken 3 has been talked about a lot among Tekken people, Tekken fans. It's a good time. You know, I have no experience really with the Tekken franchise. I think the newest Tekken, I played that over at a friend's house, and that was pretty much it. But Tekken 3 is a fun time for sure. Played about like a couple hours of it, and I was like, you know what, it's fun. That's all I really got to say about this one. So next up, I've got Tomb Raider 3, and Tomb Raider: The Last Chronicles. Oh, do I have a nut? Oh yeah, no, Tomb Raider Chronicles, Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. Yeah, so I don't have Tomb Raider 2. Unfortunately, my Tomb Raider collection would just be on point. But the Tomb Raider 2013 remake is the Tomb Raider that I first played, right? It's the Tomb Raider that got me, not into Tomb Raider, because I wouldn't say I'm into a Tomb Raider, but like, it introduced me to Tomb Raider, right? And I enjoyed it, actually. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of nice. So, but then I played Uncharted and I forgot it existed, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. But I was like, all right, let me go back to the original Tomb Raider, right? Through the remastered collection that like just kind of came out. And I don't know, even though you can turn off the tank controls, it still felt unwieldy to do. So now I have the original game, and I don't know if I'm going to want to play through it with these tank controls. But I know tank controls are a product of their time. I was not in that time. So who knows? Maybe I should just really get back into it and see if I can adjust these tank controls in a way that will work out. So I bet that's also another hurdle I have with Resident Evil, where the tank controls were something that I was not used to. So I wasn't really drawn to it, because I had to figure out a whole new control scheme and adjust to it in a way that I would have liked. So, and it was just I don't even know. But all right, next up I've got Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is probably my second favorite racing series, third, if you count Mario Kart. Mario Kart's kind of more of a party game, but I love Forza, and I really like Gran Turismo. So I was like, why not go back to the original Gran Turismo and check this out? And I played a little bit of it. Actually, no, I like Gran Turismo 7 a lot. See, I'm trying to rank them in my head now, because I was like, which French? Because I just said I love Ridge Racer, and I do. I love Ridge Racer. But Gran Turismo is something I've always been really impressed with graphically, and also just like kind of mechanics-wise. So, yeah, especially as a kid who basically only had access to Mario Kart. So, and I guess like Need for Speed on occasion. Yeah, so I would say Gran Turismo it's dope. It's awesome. It looks good. I think it's aged pretty well, actually, for a racer. So, which I think a lot of racers actually from this time of age well. So if you're gonna play a multiplayer game, or you're gonna play a game you just kind of want to mindlessly turn your brain off for, you know, a racing game from the PS1, PS2 era is a good thing to get into. So, next up I got Gex 3. Now, personally, I only got this because memes, jokes, haha, funny, hee hee. And it's funny too, because with Gex, right, you know, I just jumped straight into the third one. And I was like, you know what? It's a Gex game. It's gonna be funny. It's probably not good. I'm probably not gonna enjoy it when I play it. But hey, they got 3 of them, and everyone knows when something gets a sequel, it means it's good. Final Fantasy IX. Now, people have talked about the fact that this game is getting remastered soon, in the same way I talked about, you know, the fact that we're getting GameCube games on the Switch any day now. So, I wasn't in tune with all that when I got this game, right? So I was like, all right, let me get this game and play through it maybe before the remake comes out, so that I have an open eye in terms of, do I want to play this remake or not? But it's going to be the way I experience it. But sometimes, because anytime a game is remade, I always kind of do that calculus where it's like, do I want to play the original game or do I want to play the remake? Especially the first time I ran into that was with Final Fantasy VII. And even still though, I was like, I just want to play the remake. And I ended up playing, no, that's not what I meant. And even still, I just ended up playing the original, and I enjoyed the original so much, and my brother ended up not enjoying the remake, and I was able to go, haha, you should have just played the original. And I felt kind of like, I don't know, like a neck beard, because I was like, ugh, like I should. Who cares? who's playing which version of what game. So, but all this to say, I haven't played Final Fantasy 9 yet, but I should eventually. I've got also Final Fantasy 8. I haven't heard as many good things about Final Fantasy 8 to be honest, but still though, I've really been drawn into the Final Fantasy franchise through 7 and 10, and I just want to play those games. Disc is kind of falling out here, but I do want to play those games solely because this is the moment where my brain is like, yes, we can get into Final Fantasy right now. So, if this will open, there we go. Yeah, so we can get into Final Fantasy right now, and I'm grateful that my brain is saying yes to that. So, next up we got Crash Team Racing. This is a really fun party racer. You know, it's like the Mario Kart of new, but it's I say the Mario Kart of old is kind of pretty much like this too. But you know, it was fun. It was good. It was like but it felt more like it's a Mario Kart reskin because of its quality, like because it actually was a pretty good racer. But you know, might as well be a reskin as opposed to something else. You know what I mean? So there's that. Next up, I got Croc. Now, Croc is a game. That's all I know about it, really. So, and plus, it's been in it was in a Donkey video as like as a running gag for the video. So, I had to cop. I love spending my money on things as just a play on a joke that will really only be funny to me when I look at it. And to everybody else around me, they're just like, oh, like, you know, I guess not even explain that's a little funny, but you know, that's all I really got with it. So. All right, next up, Crash 3 Warped. Now I played Crash 1 through the remaster. I was like, wow, I don't think I like Crash Bandicoot. I played Crash 2 through the remaster, and I was like, no, I like Crash. Then I played Crash 3 through this, and I was like, no, I really like Crash. So. Crash 3 is my favorite game in the original trilogy. I think that's kind of a general sense. I think it's between 1 and 3 for most people, but I really like 3. I really liked it. I would highly recommend Loki just kind of playing 3. Like the stories are connected, but they're not like really super connected. So and you still get that traditional Crash gameplay with the third one. I'd say play the first level of Crash 1. Turn that joint off. You can play Crash 2 if you want, but Crash 3, in my opinion, where it's at. Sarge's Heroes 2 Army Men. This came on my PlayStation 1. That's all I have to say about it. So, not even that excited to play it. Caesar's Palace 2000. This came with the PlayStation. Not that excited to play it. Chrono Cross. Now we're cooking. We're back to our regularly scheduled program. Chrono Cross is a game that reminds me of Chrono Trigger because apparently they're connected in some way. But I never played Chrono Trigger. I have it through means that I can't share right now because the haters will sabotage me. But Chrono Cross is something that I was like on the verge of starting up, and then I found something else I wanted to play instead. So, but I'm excited to eventually get to this. But yeah. Next up, Gran Turismo 2, the sequel to that Gran Turismo game I was talking about earlier. You remember that? You remember that Gran Turismo? Yeah. So, Gran Turismo 2. It exists. It's here. It's in the flesh. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it go. Look at it go. Yeah. So, Gran Turismo 2 is the sequel to Gran Turismo. It's more of Gran Turismo. If you know Gran Turismo, that's might be a good thing or a bad thing for you. Who am I to say? Who am I to judge, right? But it's a sequel and exists, right? Next up, Mega Man X6. Now, my friend Simon, right? Sparkle, for many who know how I've referenced him on the channel. He was like, hey, do not play this game, or do not buy this game, actually. Because by the time I showed it to him, I already bought it. And he expressed disappointment in me because he was like, this game's not good. You're not going to like it. And I was like, all right, well, fair. But the cover art is kind of hard though. It's kind of hard though. It's kind of hard, right? And it was a well it's well conditioned. I was like, ooh, ooh, it's looking good. So yeah, Mega Man X6. I'm hoping to try it. You know, if it's bad, at least I'll know beforehand, so I can just kind of like laugh at it in a way. It might be the frustratingly difficult kind of bad, or it might be the we can laugh at it in a way kind of bad. I'm hoping that it is the latter. So, when it's the latter for sure. Okay. However, that brings the PlayStation 1 video to a close. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Now, there's going to be a plethora of collection videos coming out. And that is because I do not have the time nor the capacity to write scripts / get really in-depth editing for actual, videos that you should be seeing on the channel, and you subscribe to see on the channel. But hopefully, me talking about my collection, which I actually am very proud of, and I love talking about collecting games. Hopefully, this content is pretty cool for you guys. If it's not, we'll return to something better in like a month's time. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I've been Ganache. Go out there and play some games. Play some games for real. All right. See you guys.